Brought to you by Sun West Genetics.
Just before every show.
What's up, potheads and political junkies? You're watching Cannabis Culture News Live. Jeremiah here with Mr. Cookie Man.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show.
How are you, Mr. Cookie?
I'm pretty good. I was just filling up this little pipe here.
Your little snail buddy?
Yeah, it's a little pocket.
Jeremiah here with
Do
Mr.
we have
Cookie
here?
Man.
Where's this pipe cam?
Oh, shit. You can show that off to the folks at home. And then we'll look on the other side, though.
Yeah.
Purdy.
It has like a black light thing here. If we hit it, we won't hit it with the light because we know it won't work.
Oh, we just tried to use the light on it. And
Well, on camera, it never shows.
Oh, on camera, I see. Yeah, it wasn't too
never
bright
shows.
jumping off, but very cool. And who's responsible for that?
That is Calman Glass. Calman. He's out of Colorado, Boulder, I want to say, but I'm not 100%.
Very cool.
But yeah, he does all these little puck rigs, and they're like cool as hell, very functional. Like,
Slides right in the pocket.
yep,
Quite nice.
a little bit of hash on standby, and then you're good to go.
And we got this bag of lemon meringue pie.
Nice.
Tangy.
It reminds
Fire
me-
inspector approved. Even.
Yeah, definitely approved. Yeah, it smells so like
Lemony.
lemony, but like that love potion, but almost like that other one
Yeah.
there, the super lemon haze from the greenhouse guys.
This is nice stuff. We did have this at our Davie Street dispensary, and maybe at Cassiar. I don't know.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Seen it at
but
both.
unfortunately, those dispensaries are now closed.
Boo.
Ooh. So, as you know, if you've been watching this show and if you watch Pod TV, we've been leading up to the
hash
closure
over.
of our dispensaries on January 31st. We are past that now, of course. And if you tuned in last Friday, a little earlier in the day, we had a protest at City Hall here in Vancouver where a lot of people showed up. It was good, even though it was raining a lot. We set up our tents out front and took the bullhorns and, you know,
Yelled at the politicians.
yelled as much at them as we could.
Who didn't show up?
Yeah, not a lot of them were there in the building, so the staff, I think, were annoyed with us, which is just as good. Or
That'll let them know anyway.
yeah,
like,
they can pass it on to the
the
mayor.
shit'll flow down or up or whatever, upstream.
whatever
there.
direction it flows. Yeah, and it was kind of sad because, unfortunately, these dispensaries, they're still talking tough in the news coverage of the whole thing. You have Catherine Holm, the chief license inspector, saying that they can use all the force of the law and everything under their power to try to shut them down. and so
Full
on and so forth.
extent of the law.
Right, which is sad. But, of course, we haven't really seen that happen yet. So far, the dispensaries that have closed have done it, quote, unquote, voluntarily. Cannabis Culture was threatened into closing, essentially. They literally told our lawyer, look, if you don't do it by this date, we're going to send the people in. They can chain the building up. They would find people in contempt of court. And they could essentially arrest you for being inside, for breaking and entering. And I think that includes the landlord.
Trespassing, yeah, or whatever, too.
Yeah, it includes the landlord. So our landlord is not very pleased about that. We were waiting for yesterday, was the 7th of February. We were waiting for the judge in this decision to make another decision, essentially, about our appeal, because we have put the paperwork in for our appeal. Now, I guess we thought that the judge was supposed to make that decision by yesterday. There's been a delay. The judge, I'm not sure if it's for what reason, but
It's like, he's like, oh, man, better wait till tomorrow.
they're allowed now until March 15th to make the decision. So that's when we'll know, March 15th. whether
Fucking long spell away, boys.
It is, yeah. So that's another, we got another month or two to wait on this, sadly. So unfortunately, that means we were hoping that if the judge came back and said, yep, we're granting you guys an appeal with a stay, that would mean a stay against the injunctions that the city had on us. That would mean that they wouldn't be able to have the power to find us in contempt of court or close us down with one quick swoop and chain up the building and everything else. But because that didn't happen, we were kind of waiting and hovering in Shop Purgatory here, which was a good name for the show that Carly thought of earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've been waiting here, and unfortunately today, we wanted that news yesterday. It's not good news, so it doesn't look like we're going to be able to reopen our dispensaries, at least anytime soon. If come March or whenever the judge actually makes this decision, grants the stay, and blocks the city's power to close everything we got down right away, then we would consider reopening again and see how that goes. the reason that we've strategically done it this way is because we have other properties here that we don't want to lose. And, by retreating a little bit and biding our time, I think it's the smartest thing to do rather than, losing everything we have, which would really, really suck.
Yeah.
Because, we've had dispensaries for the last few years, but Cannabis Culture was about a lot more than just dispensaries. We've been here for 25 years doing stuff that wasn't just selling cannabis. So we don't want to lose our vapor lounges and the other stuff that we have in the interim. So we're biding our time. We'll see how it goes. Unfortunately, there's not a heck of a lot of dispensaries still open in Vancouver who aren't going to
Slim
hold
pickings out there. Like
It is. There's a few. Of course, they're getting threats just like we are, or through the media and through lawyers. Neil hasn't heard anything direct to dispensaries from the city.
Well, I've been going and visiting a few to
Neil
see
Magnuson.
what's going on.
Yeah.
Green Cross is open and still functioning and not having had any contact directly from the city.
They don't have an injunction against them, though.
I don't think they were part of the
No.
the group that took the city to court on that.
Right.
The Compassion Club, they're still operating and functioning. They're all actually getting a boost in membership as these other places
Right.
have closed down. There's more people coming for sure. I think Pain Management
And the
Society is
Compassion
still
Club
open.
is the oldest dispensary in the city.
It is, and they're very adamant there that they are not about to use anything but their current suppliers, the ones they've been using forever. They've got their own growers, and they're going to continue doing what they're doing.
Didn't they win their BOV hearing, though? Like they won, they're actually in the licensing process, and at first they were told they couldn't open because the school was next door.
Right.
Then they actually did the legwork and got the school to roll over and sign their papers.
Yeah.
And they won their BOV hearings. So I'm pretty sure that gives them the right
That was
to.
in a little different age, when that was going on. We really didn't know what the structure of the federal regime was going to be.
Right.
And they were at that time in the classification as a compassion club, which the city had. But when the city knew and found out what was going on federally, they changed that. They altered those things. They don't have that
Marijuana
that
store or
designation
whatever.
anymore. So like I said, the Compassion Club is not going to comply with using LP products and not using their
Good.
current suppliers and the other, very medical things that are being distributed there. They've got topicals and suppositories and high dose edibles and high dose edibles especially are on the line these days because of the overdose crisis, and that they are very effective for helping people transition off.
Yeah.
And so, that's very important. And I think that's kind of the message for me, is that if you're a dispensary and you're going to continue to operate within this municipality, every municipality is their own little island right now, then you should be as medical as you can be, and you should be trying to present staff that are educated, information for people with strain choicing and things like that.
Right. And making sure you're getting either, a doctor's note or just.
Well, I don't know about that. I've never been in
themselves
favor
saying
of a
that they're-
doctor's note. I've never been in favor of having to confirm diagnosis myself.
I'm not in favor of it either.
because it's an invasion of your personal medical privacy
But
rights to do that.
It does, though,
But, I
protect
do
you
think that-
in court, though.
It did. I mean, that was certainly the model that protected the Compassion Club for all that time. Was
Right.
they were very strict about making sure that was happening.
Yeah.
But I think that a medical dispensary should be dispensing to any adult over the age of 16, and I'm basing that on what the Canadian Senate said back in 2000.
Yep. I agree.
that,
I think
uh,
they should. I don't think there should be an age limit, to be honest.
Well, I think there should be an age where parents
parents.
are involved.
Right, for
Absolutely.
sure.
I
Yeah.
don't think that anybody should be selling, people's kids
No.
things without their.
But if
their
you have permission from the
knowledge.
parent, then
You
there
have
should be
permission
no
from a
age
parent
limit.
or guardian. If you're over 16, I think you're capable and should be given the respect to make those choices. We're talking about cannabis
I
here.
would even say
we're not
18.
talking about
Without the
having
parents.
access to gasoline
Yeah.
or any of these or anything like that. Working with bleach or doing construction work. We're not talking about anything dangerous anyway.
You can drive a car when you're 16, and it's dangerous.
Exactly.
Dangerous
you
as
can get a
fuck.
firearm
Yeah.
permit.
Very dangerous.
So yeah, there's.
probably skydive when you're 16.
Carly Marley
too.
just stepped in and now
Stepped
stepping out
out.
again, but she'll be back in a sec.
Of course, that's the big issue we're still dealing with, is the powers that be want to continue to regulate cannabis as if it was plutonium or something, and that it's highly contagious
Dangerous
and
and-
explosive
yeah.
and dangerous.
Yes.
And it's anything but that. So we've still got that to work out, and I'm sure we're on the way to doing that. I'm sure it's not in the best interests of the business people involved with cannabis to have those designations. So they're going to be doing something, either behind the scenes or in the public realm, to combat those lies. That's all it is lies.
And this, as I watch the continual takeover of the pot industry by the big corporations and by all the legit licensed folks, there's just some really some stuff that's really bad about it all, and it just like the direction that it's going isn't really getting any better. I don't know if you've seen, but they've only licensed one micro cultivator so far in the whole country.
Oh.
Even though they've been those,
Everyone's
systems have been
pushing
available.
for it. Like, oh, micro.
So I don't know what's up with
like
that.
Well, not everybody's pushing for it.
Yeah.
I'm sure the macro growers aren't pushing for micro growers.
No, of course not. Well, they are.
And they seem to be the one with all the leverage.
They're pushing through for them through their own. See, the thing is,
Yeah, if they can be the micro grower too.
well, the way that the government set it up is that the micro cultivators can't sell their marijuana to the market unless they go through an LP.
Right.
So the LPs are peachy on it. They're like, they have Canopy
They'll mark it
River
up.
and these different companies now that they're going to gather up all the micro cultivators, put them in business, and then they'll sell their weed for them, right?
They'll mark up their product.
Of course.
Or buy them outright.
Yeah, so that's what they want to do, and
Which is good for the micro cultivator, maybe, if they're getting paid a good buck and they get cashed out right away. That's great,
And I think we need more of those micro cultivators. Like we have plans to try to help people become micro cultivators at Cannabis Culture. We wanted to get our
many
grower
more
friends.
microcultivators.
Yeah, we need all the people in
so
BC to
many
get
more.
on board. Or the stores that you're going to be able to buy weed at are going to have absolute garbage, and like they have now, like they have nothing good in them. And this is where, and some of the did you guys see that in Ontario they just announced that the stores, the 25 that they've allowed for, well, there's going to be mandatory staff. You have to send your staff over to school essentially to learn.
to the training camp.
Learn how to not talk about the benefits.
And guess who is going to be the exclusive provider of training for the Ontario government?
No.
It's Lyft, who just won it, with MAD. Mothers Against Drunk Driving and Lyft together will have a monopoly on training over the whole province of Ontario.
Though I will say that MAD changed a lot of their stances around cannabis recently on their website, didn't they? To be much more friendly.
Right,
So
but they're not.
hopefully-
They don't know anything about cannabis. They shouldn't
That's
be in
true.
charge.
They
of
shouldn't
this.
be in charge
And
of
quite
it.
More of
frankly,
the,
Lyft is, they've been sort of floated by the LPs for a long time. They've sort of separated and done some of their stuff, but people that work for Lyft have gone to work for Health Canada. David Brown, and
What
so
does the Lyft do exactly? What is a company?
they have their expos and they
Help the
They put out
LPs
a
advertise.
newsletter. Yeah.
they're a big marketing thing, I think.
They're a big marketing thing.
Yeah. Well,
Well, because
essentially,
the LPs aren't allowed to
Lyft and Co.
advertise, so if you maybe have another company that's maybe advertising, that might be
Right.
okay. I don't know how that would work.
I think they do a bunch of stuff. I mean, they have
And that's
this
why they
training,
do. That's why
obviously.
they do all these trade shows, because that's advertising in itself, but not physical.
Oh,
it's
they
not
were-
like a print ad.
They'd been talking with Ming
Those
Wan
are
Zhou.
their awards that they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is odd that the people that work for Lyft go and work for Health Canada, and then Lyft gets these contracts and stuff. And it's like, that's an exclusive. The people have
It's
to
a boys'
pay.
club of
They have
some
to
sort,
pay
isn't it?
Lyft for that. So each dispensary is going to have to pay for that training. Right.
All
So
the students or whatever.
this is this like corporate nepotism stuff where all the industry starts becoming one. The
Well,
politicians.
that's where
and the
we've
people
seen these
who-
trade shows and when they first started happening and all the schmoozing that was going on, and all these guys in suits that are yapping, and that's what's coming out of all of this.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, but 20
Backroom
points
deals.
on the dollar, hey?
Backroom deals, everybody's making their money, and let's make sure that the original pioneers don't get nothing.
It really makes me upset because as part of our plan, our future plan, we at Cannabis Culture, we're going to try to get licenses to have government dispensaries where we're, going through the process. But right now, I can't bring myself to, I wouldn't want to sell any of the products that are in those fucking stores.
Right.
Like, it's garbage. And we've looked
or
at
even
it, we've been there.
be involved
it's
with the
not good
packaging.
stuff.
I wouldn't even want to be involved with that packaging.
The packaging alone. And having to, indoctrinate your staff with like Mothers Against Drunk Driving propaganda and shit like this. This is not our community. This is not what we signed up for during legalization. This is not what we wanted to legalize. We didn't, I believe in regulations. Good ones.
So
ones
somebody's
that
saying
help
it's-
people and not hurt people.
Somebody's saying it's similar when you sell alcohol, you have to do some training, and that's true. And we're not saying
I'm
that
down for
staff
training.
shouldn't be trained. Staff should absolutely be trained, but they should be trained on the benefits of cannabis, what terpene profiles are, all the different kinds of cannabinoids. They should be learning that it's important for people to be able to smell and see the bud because that helps them learn what works for them and what doesn't. That's the kind of thing that they should be teaching them. They shouldn't be teaching them about how scared cannabis is and how they need to not tell anyone about any of its benefits. That's the part we disagree with. And we disagree with the people who are always in the pockets of Health Canada and vice versa. And it's just total corruption. That's what we're against.
And teach them how to dispel the myths, because there's still a lot of myths out there. And I mean, a bud tender at any dispensary's got to have people come in and say, well, but I heard that it causes cancer. I heard this and
My
that.
friend said this, yeah.
The reason that all of this is a problem is because of how they've rolled it out. They've rolled it out in a way that doesn't actually make it open to the people. The systems that they've built are only accessible to those with millions of dollars to play. Like in a Cannabis Culture,
To be on the sell side.
to be able
Well,
to
even
sell
on this micro
but,
side, when
but
you
even
look
on the
at
micro
setup,
yeah.
it's like close to $1 million for the whole like
Right.
security.
That's what I mean. Anybody on the selling
play,
side of
right.
it
It's like-
has got to be part of the old boys club or have a,
Right.
a deep pocket.
And that's wrong. That's
you
where
get
the
a few
supply
investors
comes
on
from.
it, but
Well,
then
Part
it
of
goes
legalization
down.
wasn't that we're going to hand the entire fucking thing over to some rich government folks. It was that the people that have been doing this for years were supposed to be part of this system.
You know, it's more than that. It's about culture. And
Right.
dispensaries from the start had a culture to them. They had an atmosphere when you walk in there, especially the medical dispensaries. I mean, they were
Yeah.
so about caring about people, recognizing that people were in pain, recognizing that people had been oppressed by these laws for a long time, and helping people through all of that. It was a place you could go for community. Vapor and lounging and smoking was usually in the early dispensaries, certainly at ours, and the Vicks, I know, and the Vicks have got such a great record and such amazing history of helping people there. And there's people that were lamenting online just in this last few days about how that place in particular was such a refuge for them to go to, where nobody else seemed to care that they were dying of cancer or that they had serious things going on in their lives. And the Vicks cared, and these compassion clubs cared. And that's what's different about this government dispensaries is it's just a store. It's like having a vending machine with robots in there giving you your stuff. It's
Exactly.
not got anywhere close to that feeling.
And when all the
of
weed comes from the
safety
same
and
fucking
community.
places, and it's all run through the government middleman, and it's all toxic stuff sprayed with pesticides. Obviously not all of the weed is toxic. I'm not trying to say that, but they're allowing 21 different pesticides to be sprayed onto these plants.
And when you look at what's
And
being
they're using
sold,
these pesticides that aren't allowed and sprays that aren't allowed on top of the ones that they're already using.
they get
they're
busted
not
doing it
putting
all the
love
time.
into the
Other
buds.
places like
Yeah,
Love into the buds is very important.
yeah.
It's very extremely important.
No
There's so
love,
much research
no
to
bud.
show.
Well, I think really the future right now for the black market is mail order. And I think that's where I might be going to buy my cannabis.
And private member lounges too.
Yeah.
People can have membership clubs, different places. We can go back into homes and basement suites.
Yeah,
and things.
that's
You
what
know.
it's gonna have to be.
You can
Back
have
to the
edible
black.
parties at people's houses
Yeah.
and do stuff like that, and have vendors there. It's going to go back to having speakeasies.
Because I'm not going to
down
go
low,
buy. I don't want to buy any weed from those government stores. It's disgusting.
We've checked a lot of it. I've been present
Yeah,
for
I
a lot
got
of
it.
these.
Like,
I haven't
I got-
actually smoked any of it yet that I'm aware of. Maybe somebody handed me a joint.
I got a lot of it still. You want some?
I've watched a bunch of it be opened
can have
up.
the stuff
I've
I
smelled
have.
it. I've looked at it.
Kamloops, but
I
that's
didn't
it.
smoke any of that with you. I don't know if you noticed that, but I didn't actually partake in any of that.
You didn't
It
smoke
didn't
in
look good
Kamloops.
to me at all. I don't trust it, but it's.
I wanted to smoke it because, I've spent years criticizing LP weed on the show, and I've talked about how crappy their product is. And now that I actually had it available without having to sign up for a system and be one of their people in their program, now I had the opportunity to actually try it myself and see it for myself. And now when I say, guys, this weed really sucks, I can say it with a bit more of an authority.
Yeah.
I think I
It's just
tried
why-
it.
That's why I tried it. But
I
that's
think
the
I
only
tried
reason
it by-
I'm not trying again.
I think I tried it like you try any weed that you're about to buy or whatever. You look at it, you smell it, you take a little bit apart, and
Yeah.
And I
See
did
what
all of
happens.
that, and I decided, no, I don't want to light this on fire and inhale those fumes. I don't trust this shit. It
You
doesn't
know,
look good to me.
it-
And I think part of the reason is because one, they don't know how to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They grow a lot of shit that they grew experimentally that they still got to sell.
It's
So
got
they
no
got a bunch of
trichomes,
old
though.
stock they're trying to get rid of. And three, I think the good weed, if they are producing it, is going overseas, and that's what they're really in business
100%.
for, is the international market, and we're getting left behind here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, for sure. And
Well,
you know,
the international market wouldn't matter really because, what
Germany.
Well, like the Netherlands and all those guys had Bedrocan for like years now,
Mm-hmm.
and their weed's technically like that recreational weed that we bought. A lot of it, any weed that's irradiated, tastes kind of like a weed light. Like you take a puff and you're like,
doesn't get you high.
Doesn't have the kick.
yeah, and it's not like a full smoke. I find so even like
That's
when
what
I
I've been
when I go to
saying.
when I go to Amsterdam, like all our friends have like their Bedrocan prescription. It's like a yellow and white jar, and they all have it so they can bring weed like all around the UK and not
Right.
be issued or not be have a
issues.
hassle. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you ask them about it, because everyone usually is like, oh, what is that? They're like, oh, that's my medical weed. They're like, here's the weed right here in this jar. Would you like to try some? And you're like, yeah. And like you roll up a joint and they watch you like struggle through it. And like, say in Amsterdam, weed's fucking expensive. It's like €17 a gram for good weed, you know?
Yeah.
So even like the shitty weed would be like 15 or 20 Canadian dollars or something.
Yeah, weed's
and they
not
watch you like power through it. And finally they just say like, don't worry, you can put it out. Like, you know what I mean?
They know how bad it is.
Yeah, and I feel bad putting it out, especially when people give me weed there, because I know it does have a high value. So I'm just like,
So how much weed in the Bedrocan containers is actually Bedrocan weed?
oh, fuck, probably none of it.
When I was
Like,
there,
I'm
Except
sure
for the
there-
first time.
Well, maybe there's some like older people that just whatever, you know, but like, yeah, no, like the people that know, they don't smoke
the
it.
first time that I went to Amsterdam, we couldn't get the weed to stay lit. It was putting itself out every 2 minthis. You had to
And
relight it
that's-
over
yeah.
and over and over, and it's burning black, and your lips are all numb, and you're like, this is fucking garbage. But they got better at the last Cannabis
Well, and
Cup.
you really have to like
it
pick
was
the
a
shops
little
you
bit
go
better,
to
yeah.
and stuff like that, because like some of them are more reputable than others now, so then it makes it a lot better.
So are the shops there selling irradiated weed only by regulation? Is that what's going on? Like,
No, they're like the apothec or like the pharmacy is only selling that.
Yeah.
'cause that's
Oh, I see.
Bedrocan.
The Bedrocan
Right, right, right.
Bedrocan has a whole monopoly on it, so they're like.
But the other weed in the shops, that's coming from other private growers.
Yeah,
and
just
it's not all
It
irradiated.
appears mysteriously. They're not the coffee
Right.
shops aren't allowed to be associated with a grower or anything like that.
Right.
It just comes in the back door
I see.
magically.
Somebody leaves their bag behind.
Yeah. It's
They
like
find
a,
it, you know.
There's like
Oh,
a
look at
weird
this.
gray area. I'm like, well, how does that work? They're like,
Oh,
well, you can't know the grower. You can't like be like, oh, you know, it just kind of happens. I'm like,
So don't piss off your local government, or they're gonna stop that transaction from happening, right?
I guess. Well, they can't.
Probably.
really
That's
right now.
that's the way humans work, right?
But no, they get taxed
are you
like
looking for?
50% on everything, so the government loves it. They're just like, whatever. They send a guy in like once a month with like.
So do they bust any of these suppliers or growers for the
They
clubs?
do get
Amsterdam?
busted, yeah,
Yeah, they
like
do.
on the way, transportation, the grow ops will get busted.
So
and
just
they're
because
like,
they were stupid or something, or they pissed off a government official or something, right?
no, just more or less, they're always looking for it.
The
They have,
scooter
like, a
guys.
Well, they are
budget.
actually looking for it.
Yeah.
Scooter guys get pulled over and they get a $4,000 fine.
Yeah, because they're like transporting for the coffee shop.
Scooter guys, just randomly pulled over.
Scooter guys.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
pull everyone over and
That-
check their little hatches and shit. What's
Oh,
in your
yeah.
bag? Like they did it to us. We were just it was
Oh,
like
yeah.
a road check for bikes or whatever, and we didn't know. We were like, and you
Really?
can't even like. Usually we were driving around with like an unlit joint in your mouth, which is like highly illegal. We didn't know. We were just fucking tourists, right? We were like everywhere, and then everybody's like, "No, man, they'll give you a ticket, like a big ticket, you know, and like take the scooter maybe or something from you." I
Wow.
was like,
Yeah.
what? But yeah, we like got pulled over in one of these ride programs, and they wanted to like look in the little trunk and look in the bag. We were like, oh.
Arian from
see.
Greenhouse, Arian, the strain hunter, told me when we were there in Amsterdam about the scooters getting busted every once in a while. And he said, it's a cost of doing business.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like even they're all like have a million safe houses and all this stuff for everything because I always have to like keep switching it up and like.
It's
and
a
there's,
game.
Like, yeah, and there's
It's a game with people making money on
Happy
different
420
segments.
too.
420.
Yeah, happy 420
We missed it
It's
by
still
2
420
minutes. Dun, dun,
too.
dun, dun. That's
420
true.
is a 9-minute interval.
It is.
It's a 9-minute interval.
420 also.
9 minutes. Okay, that's good.
Might be 10.
You should rip that bong then, like a bong ripper.
I guess it's 10.
415.
Because 0 would count as 1, and then 9 would still be, 9 would count as 10. So
He didn't
it's
already
a 10
start it, did he?
It's a 10-minute interval.
10 minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes. From 420 to
That whole-
429.
Oh, he did. Maybe he did start it. Well, so we're not going to do a long show
actually-
today because Craig X tried to do his show yesterday, and he I guess the sound got messed up, and he's got a cool show.
He's an expert at joints, not sound.
I guess he's not a sound expert.
He's gonna redo the show.
So he's just going to replay yesterday's show today because it didn't end up getting played.
Oh, but they had sound.
He did have it when they filmed the show, but the show wasn't able to go live because there was no sound going out. So they filmed the whole show, tried to put it up last night with the live stuff, didn't work out for whatever reason. So he's going to replay it today, it was supposed to happen at 4:30. I don't know if he's already started it or what, but there might be 2 streams going on right now. We're not going to take forever, so you guys can
This
go.
is the better stream for now.
yeah, yeah.
When
We're
this
gonna
one
get
goes
high.
off, you guys know, yeah.
Exactly. He had some cool guests.
We're gonna
on
get
the
high
show,
live
and-
today, not yesterday.
But we also
Overlap the two.
we also do have.
It's Friday,
Did we have videos to play today? Oh, right. So we did go to City Hall and have our crazy protest there.
Pro.
Which is good. I think it was good.
The media showed up. Everybody, had good signs. I thought it was excellent.
Did you guys play those media, like the City TV one on Pod TV on Carly's show or something?
No.
They are up on Pod TV, so if you want to go and watch the media coverage of it, go to pod.tv, check it out. Oh, the dabs.
Oh, you got a
We got cookie dough dab right here. Cookie dough.
Let it cool down, though. I don't know.
Oh,
It's quite
okay.
hot as F.
Tell me when. Cookie dough. Yeah, so these were also, it looks nice. Butterize a little here. Let's,
And those are literally blasts from the past.
yes, they are. They are blasts.
Oh my god, that's a good one.
Retro
our
dabs. You can
past
get them here if
dispensary,
you come
yeah.
by. They'll be like $8, but that's cool. It's retro.
Yeah. Well, we
Comes
still
with
have
it.
this stuff available at our Dab Lounge. So not all of the Cannabis Culture locations are closed. You can come to Cannabis Culture here at 307 West Hastings, where we have our bong shop, we have our vapor lounge, 2 floors of it, our Pod TV studio, and all the other fun. We also have our High Score Lounge, which is still open at 649 East Hastings. And if you like retro video games and smoking cannabis, that's a good spot to be. Is it hot?
Well, we'll give her a reread
Okay.
here.
It doesn't take long for the bangers
Yeah, I
to cool
guess.
down in the studio today.
Yeah, I'm not actually smoking a joint. This is just the cold breathing out.
It's so cold here in Vancouver. All you SU people in Canada, you should feel bad for us.
I talked to Rob Laurie this morning, our amazing lawyer who lives over in Nanaimo, and he said it was a whiteout over there right now. They're getting
yeah.
a ton of snow.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's cool.
When did you
So
talk
that
to him?
means like
When
a
did you talk
foot
to him?
Early, just before the show.
Or 6
Oh,
inches.
so it's coming here.
It's I don't
It'll
know.
be here.
I
It
hope
was,
so.
if it's there,
earlier.
it's
Cookie
coming.
win.
Oh, I know it was, but
Am I
yeah.
good?
Well, they said it was going to snow today.
Good.
You're such a newbie at dabbing still.
I don't know.
He's too reliant
I
on
just
just
go
email
hot.
now.
Everybody
Go,
always tells me a
just
different
go.
time.
You know who Jolioli is? Custom
only
Grow
about 30
420. Just go hot. Hot and hurdy.
It's on your thing.
It's on your thing. Fucking, that wasn't hot enough, bro. Hurdy.
It's like
Hit
a
it
30-second
hot.
banger.
Fucking
I
hit
don't
it
like
hot.
bangers
you
that
barely
you have to wait
fucking
for.
coughed, bro.
Hit it cool.
You barely cough, dude. Doesn't work unless you cough.
You don't cough, don't get off.
That time I did. That was nice. Tasty.
Good and tasty.
Cookie dough.
Gotta like those tasties.
You want one?
No.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Anil? Anil wants one. He's doing the production today as usual
Well,
on the boards.
here's one. Whoever wants one. You guys?
And I've been trying to get Anil to watch a movie called
I watched the second part.
Did you watch the second part?
Which one?
It gets even better.
What's the movie?
Pardon me. The movie's called The Defiant Ones.
Oh, it's so good.
The Defiant
Sounds
Ones.
so good.
It's a documentary film about Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre, 2 great music producers who their paths kind of crossed when Dre left Ruthless Records and went to Death Row, and Jimmy Iovine had started his own record company called Interscope Records. And it's a pretty amazing documentary. I like it for the content, but I also like it for Anil. Oh, it's going this way first? Oh, sorry.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Whatever.
Whatever, you go first.
Ladies first.
Yeah.
There you go.
But it's an amazing movie about how these 2 music producers, by defying the conventional thought on how music should be, became extremely popular and basically like figured out the 90s and had the most successful artists of the 1990s on their record labels, and kind of like, defined a whole generation of people in music and genres and stuff. It's pretty cool. Like Dr. Dre, I'm a big, huge fan. But I actually like the way that the documentary's made. I think it's one of the coolest documentaries in terms of the style of how it's
Yeah.
made. It's pretty cool, and it gets more stylistic as the episodes go on. I watched the first 3 episodes last night, just like in a row. I stayed up late. It was on. I couldn't stop.
That's what happens. It's called binging.
They definitely, the first one is a little sort of mild, and then it gets harsher and more like, I don't know. It's the Hughes, one of the Hughes brothers. The
Derek.
guys who made Menace to Society, I think. Yeah, Alan Hughes. Yeah. He directed this documentary film. It's pretty awesome. Jimmy,
Where do you see it?
American Pimp. Where
That's a Netflix, is it?
I don't believe it's. I think they took it off of Netflix. It's on Crave,
Well, I got Crave.
but it's also on iTunes.
I crave and misbehave once
Yeah.
in a while.
I saw it on Crave, but I don't have a Crave account anymore, so I just bought the iTunes ones. I already owned them, so. I like iTunes.
because we finished all of Cheers.
Yeah, we were watching Cheers on
We
Crave.
put the lost episodes up.
Yeah, somebody wrote Cheers already up here. Doug.
Seinfeld,
Carly and I
too.
watched every single episode of Cheers, all 7 seasons.
We're working on MASH.
Now we're doing MASH, and we're into season 3 in MASH. Yeah, Carly's never seen any of it.
I had never seen it.
watched
No-
it all.
no
I have
spoilers.
the biggest crush on Radar O'Reilly.
Yeah, she likes Radar. That's funny.
Amazon Prime, they have a thing too.
Amazon Prime has their own service. Yeah.
Has some
I don't
good
know what
stuff
shows
on
they
there.
have on
Parks
there.
and Rec.
Nice.
Some good shows, yeah. I was like kind of surprised some of the stuff was on there. I was like, oh.
Apparently Disney, I read somewhere that Disney's going to be pulling all their stuff from all the streaming services and then making their own
Of course.
video
Oh,
streaming service.
jeez.
I'm like, fuck, now I have to actually like
Get D-line.
pay every month for Disney movies. Like they're my guilty pleasure, but I don't know that I can put like an extra $8 a month on my credit card.
It'll probably be HD, so it'll be 12.
My Disney princess.
Two joints was listening to Mobb Deep. Boys in the
now.
Hood was done by, he says, Spike Lee. Actually, Boys in the Hood was done by John Singleton. I think he directed that. Yeah. Ice Cube's first big Hollywood movie, playing Doughboy. Pretty good.
Remember
Yeah.
that mofo?
But yeah, so I don't know how we got so far off tangent there. The Defiant Ones, check it out. It's really good. Yeah, and I'm glad you gave it another shot, Neil. It just keeps getting crazier, though.
It gets, one, I didn't like it all. Two, it sold me. Actually, the Ice Cube interview near the end of 2, so I've never watched the DOC.
Yes, he did his voice. That was funny. Yeah. Yeah, DOC's good in it, too. There's a lot of, if you like 90s hip hop, then, and you like Death Row and all the shenanigans around Eazy-E and Dre and stuff, it's pretty dope.
Or even if you just like videos in terms of like how they're edited and direction and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the most beautifully executed documentaries
is
I've
the
ever
best.
watched.
Stylistically, it's very cool.
Stylistically,
Ah,
it's
Neil.
brilliant. So if you're interested in that kind of thing and you like watching a well put together and well edited movie,
Yeah. It's a quality
check it out.
documentary.
It's a quality documentary.
There's a lot of great documentaries actually that have a very cool stylistic edge to them. One that comes to mind is Manufacturing Consent, the documentary about Noam Chomsky. Stylistically, it's very cool. It's like got it's made by Canadian film directors, and it's pretty awesome. They also did The Corporation, which is good.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
Corporation's cool. Stylistic as well. Let's watch the protest footage. And
Mount protesting.
Yeah, and then we're not going to stay too long, but let's check it out.
You win.
Got dabs here at the bar. Anybody want to take some dabs with me?
It's really stimulated, so it's like.
There's so much smoke in the air.
If you're trying to buy pot today from your dispensary, we're fucking closed because the city said we had to close.
And that's why we're here today. Sorry to mess up your afternoon with our megaphones. I'm sorry we're an inconvenience, but it's a much bigger inconvenience to lose our community, lose our medicine, lose our jobs and our livelihood. That's what you're doing to us. I think maybe the counselors don't understand. They're not educated enough to realize what they're actually doing. They think, oh, well, what do you mean? Weed is weed, isn't it? But no, this kind of stuff hurts people, so. You know, we've told them this over and over again. We go and we speak in front of city council. We talk directly to the councilors. I have meetings with them where we chat about it. And they're like, well, yeah, you know, there's just not a lot of political support for keeping them open. Well, that's what's wrong about it. There needs to be more political support. And hopefully this kind of stuff will make more political support. Because it's wrong to close them, so. We just have to keep reminding them. We need real cannabis dispensaries. And that's why we need licenses, emergency licenses for the cannabis dispensaries that are in operation now, instead of forcing them to close. The government stores don't allow edibles. They don't allow topicals. They don't allow extracts. And many, many patients who use cannabis as a medicine need access to those things. They need access to edibles. You're taking the medicine away from sick and dying people. How can you live with yourselves? Why? Why would you take medicine away from sick and dying people? Ask the mayor that next time you see him. They want to close the dispensaries down and take medicine away from sick and dying people. Does that make sense to anyone? Please ask the mayor why he wants to take medicine away from sick and dying people. Please tell him to answer that question. If we can get a good answer, well, it will go away. But there is no good answer. There's no good reason to take medicine away from sick and dying people.
Pot is not a hard drug. Pot can replace hard drugs.
We're afraid. It's scary to have to go to work and be under threat of police arrest when you're just trying to help people. When you're just trying to provide people with medicine and the government threatens to put you in jail for it. They threaten to come and take away your livelihood, close your building, arrest anybody who's there for breaking and entering. We're under constant threat. Under constant threat. It's traumatizing to have to go to work every day and think that you might be arrested by the police that day because you're giving medicine to people who need it. All the cannabis dispensaries in Vancouver that are helping people, yeah, and providing medicine. Why does the mayor want to take medicine away from sick and dying people?
We want to heal the tens of thousands of people in Vancouver that need cannabis. Save our dispensaries here in Canada.
It doesn't make sense. We just legalized marijuana, and now the city's going to close all the cannabis dispensaries. That's wrong. Tell them to stop. All right. Good. Get a good dose of me yelling with the megaphone there. I think pissed them off probably just enough. Did we didn't actually go and review the video of that lady coming out and giving us the finger though. It's in the first round on our live stream. Yeah, when we first did the very first round of the building, when we came around the back, and Carly was there. You were the one, you were holding the camera, recording, and the lady came out and she's like, "Fuck you!"
Is that the tall, rather large woman?
The tall, fingery lady.
No, I don't think she was. She wasn't tall or large. She was kind of short and small.
Yeah, she was pretty petite woman.
Yeah.
Blonde, gray.
But she sure had a tall attitude.
But you didn't show in that video that Jody and I were actually allowed into the city hall, and we met with the representative of the mayor and gave Jody's letter, and I had to talk with him about our project.
I heard there was video of that, but something happened to it, or card got corrupted. God damn!
Because that was pretty powerful in there. I mean, Jody was quite emotional. I mean, he seemed receptive to what we were saying, and I thought we said some powerful things to him. So, yeah, that happened.
Yeah, and Jody said they had tears in their eyes, or that they were like,
Yeah, I think he was quite receptive to what she was saying. But,
yeah.
Well, there's deaths are going to occur if they continue to close access points for people to get, high dose cannabis.
Especially on the downtown east side here
get
with
off
these
the
people.
street drugs.
Like any street person that doesn't have ID, they can't go to a government store and buy a $5 joint because there isn't a $5 joint and they don't have ID.
Right.
And that's what they're living off of.
Yeah.
Like maybe they're doing like 3 pipes or 4 pipes off that joint, and that's fucking keeping them going, and that's all they need. But like,
no, everything about it is wrong and the city of Vancouver is supposed to be this progressive city that has we're going out on a limb trying to make access for medical marijuana patients. Well, what happened to that? What happened to this whole idea of access for medical patients?
Their talk of being progressive is a smokescreen. They're all about developers and big money, and they always have been. That's who runs this city.
Yeah.
It's always been that way.
And I'm not happy with the mayor, Kennedy Stewart. He is, not receptive to us in any way. He was really rude to us when we went to city council. We tried to bring up really good points. We gave them scientific studies showing that dispensaries save lives. He was rolling his eyes at us the whole time.
Yeah.
So it was really disrespectful and just kind of ridiculous. So I don't know. I'm not happy with any of the city councilors right now. Oh, and to add insult to injury on the whole thing before we go, there's some hilarious 420 news.
Oh.
So there's a...
They don't want it in the park, let me guess.
Right. What a surprise.
No, really?
It is hilarious.
Yeah. No, so it's one member of the park board who's an NPA member who is putting forward a motion this Monday at 6:30 at night or whenever the meeting is. 6
Can we go
o'clock.
and vote that motion?
We can't...
or it's City Hall of a motion. We can just go stand
No,
there.
we can't. We won't even be allowed to speak. Not allowed to speak to the motion. Apparently, this is what I was told earlier today.
That happens lots.
So yeah, no, I don't. I think the way that they set up the park board meeting is there's nobody allowed. The public isn't allowed to speak on the motion.
They can hear it, but they can't speak.
Right, exactly. You can go watch it, but they say 2 things. One, she wants us to find this. She wants to suggest that the city find a place for us to go by 2020. So that's fine, whatever. They do that every year. But the other thing that's in it that's a little worrisome is that she's saying we want to find out how to stop them from selling marijuana this year because it's illegal. So they want to advise the police that they have to do something or something like this. So
I think the police will advise them.
I think, the police make their own decisions, and they've already made that decision, and that's why they let this happen. So I'm not actually worried. It's not going to change what we do.
Yeah, it's not like the police don't know what's going on. Like, they walked through there for the last, few years with the fucking video camera and recorded everything. So it's not like they're going oh, I don't know if that's real. That might not be real, boys. They're like, yeah, let's fuck these guys, whatever.
But
it's just weed.
There's a new park board, so it's all new people there. I don't even know if there's any of the same people. But apparently one of them is friendly to us and has been reaching out to try to figure out how to sort of combat it from the other side. Pardon me, hiccup. But we'll see how it goes. I'm going to be there on Monday, so we'll get back to you guys and report some things to y'all on the next episode of the show. And I think Craig's show, it has started already. So I did tell him that I'd sign off and not eat up too much of his, because if people want to switch over or whatever, they could. It's true. You can switch.
We just leave it up to the viewers.
Yeah, we can leave. I know.
We want to
maybe we should. Should we do one more bong toke
I'll
here?
do a hash rip and you do a bong toke?
Yeah, there we go.
Done.
Okay. Props to Sunwest Genetics. That's right. This
Hope
is
everyone's growing those sweet genetics.
Bong toke brought to you by Sunwest Genetics. That's right.
Brought to you by
who are our
Sunwest
amazing sponsor.
Genetics.
Couldn't do the show without them. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, and I believe you can get Sunwest Genetics right here at Cannabis Culture downstairs in our store, 307 West Hastings. I believe we do have them for sale there. I'm pretty sure. I'm not. That's not. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's.
Quote him on that, everyone. It's out there. Put it all over the internet.
Say Jeremiah said that.
I'll let you know on next show, but I'm almost 100%. Almost.
Just go into the store and tell him Jeremiah said that you could get him there.
Yeah, we did have them, and I know we were going to have them again. And we might be in that period in between where we don't have any left, but I know we're getting them.
In which case, it's Vancouver. You could get a rain check.
Yeah, we definitely have.
Which is good for every single day.
We will help you.
Yeah,
the store will help.
Got seeds for sure, but they sell out fast, man. It's a popular item.
Growing is the future. Keep outgrowing the government.
Well, if everyone grows sweet cron, Then they can trade sweet cron with everyone, and guess what? Everyone will have sweet cron.
That's it. And once people have tried the sweet cron, after the government store, they're never going back to the government store.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to this one random older guy that smokes weed that I know smokes weed. Now it's like, oh yeah, where do you get weed from? He's like, oh, I get it from this guy Jimmy. I've been getting it from him for years. I was like, oh, right on. And he gave me some weed, and it was like, okay. Still better than the government weed. So then I seen him again after it's been legal for a while. And I said, hey, have you tried any of that government weed? And he said, yeah, we ordered a little sample of it, he says, but it don't taste right, he says. And I was like, what? And he's just not even like a connoisseur guy because the weed he gave me was like, whatever it was. But it was all right. Not shitty, but not the best. It's not like I'm trying to buy weed off him again, but still. Yeah, and he was just like, oh, it tasted kind of weird.
Fire
and
inspector
yeah,
improved.
No, definitely not.
No.
Now, they could only get away with what they're doing if they could completely eliminate all other sources of actual good weed and anybody else who'd ever tried good weed. So, no.
It's too late. Everyone's already tried good weed.
I know. You're not going to get it.
Like even someone who maybe never smoked weed before, and they're like, right on, I'm going to try weed, and they buy weed, and then they go open up the jar, and they're like, and they're looking at like a High Times magazine or something, and they're like, oh, that's not a bud shot or whatever. Like, how come mine doesn't look like that, or whatever?
A lot of advertising is like that.
Maybe photoshopped.
Amanda's
burger
making
doesn't quite look
pierogies
like
out
that.
there.
Yeah, she said she was going to bring some in for everyone and distribute them around town.
Pierogies are the bomb.
That was never said, but
Love
yeah.
pierogies.
So, Neil, did you have a video of the CSP? Is that what you said?
We do have one.
Because we're just about at 2 years
Set it up,
now.
Neil.
We're almost 2 years of giving away cannabis edibles on the downtown east side to people. We gave out 200 bags yesterday, and that's kind of the new norm for us is
saving
around
lives.
200 bags that go out. We got people lining up in the rain and in the cold. Unfortunately, it'd be nice if we could bring them inside or just have a storefront for them to go to, actually, which might be coming down the pike. But right now, we're about to celebrate our 2 years of helping these people and giving out cannabis edibles to help offset the opioid crisis. So if Neil's got a video, that'd be awesome, too.
Very cool.
Huge thanks
Essential
to our
program,
volunteers.
Neil.
Huge thanks to our donators. It only works because of these awesome people. That the 15 people that come every single time we're there, twice a week. They're there without fail. They all.
Do you need more volunteers?
The volunteers is pretty much covered. There's not much for people to do. We do have 15 people that show up, but we've got good crowd management. We've got the two girls, the ladies that usually pack the bags. I arrive with the boxes. And I have some issues getting enough donations. That's our biggest thing is we need people that have excess that they could maybe let us have. We'll turn whatever trim into baked goods and edibles. And we also have the holy rollers there every time rolling joints for people as well.
So if you have only time that you can volunteer, maybe talk and see if the people that you know in the cannabis community can volunteer and donate some stuff.
There you go. Yeah.
There's a way you can volunteer
That's smart.
your time.
Yeah, that's the best thing at this point.
Donate.
We're only allowed to have 6 holy rollers there by Van Du's edict, because they're a business or a place that does a lot of different things, and so to accommodate us has been awesome of them to do that. But they want us to have only the 6 holy rollers, so we've got 6 people that show up faithfully every time, and usually a couple others that are on standby just in case somebody doesn't show up.
They cramp up. They're like, oh, hands cramping. Oh, let me in.
We've got a large lineup of people. We've got 150 or more people that line up there. And if people want to do things for those people, that would be awesome. If you've got stuff that you want to hand out to the line, if people want to come and do surveys for us and have questionnaires, maybe that's a way to help. We're still trying to gather empirical evidence. We've got people that take videos every time we're there of some people. We've got UBC on site that are taking some statistical evidence as well. But the more of that we can further, we need to have the city councils in all municipalities aware of what we're doing, and we need to get the word out to people that cannabis edibles in high dose especially can really be effective for helping people not use those street drugs and deal with the pain and the emptiness or whatever they're dealing with the street drugs can be dealt with cannabis in concentrated forms and in edible high dose forms.
I'd love to see full experiment or scientific experiments with that, because with the opiates
that
and
evidence
the
is
stuff
being
that
collected.
Because they're like already addicted to opiates, most of these people, and the cannabis will be like intensifies their dose of the opiates, whatever it may be. And even if they just have it like in their system, so they get that heavy edible and then it just like holds them over for like 8-9 hours or something, which is like a full day almost, you know, so they're not even
It really helps them
about
get through withdrawal.
Yeah.
And withdrawal is so violent and horrible that that's the main reason that people keep on using.
Yeah,
is
it
that they
hurts
just
them.
can't get through the withdrawal side of it. So it's really effective in a lot of different ways. And that information I don't feel is being properly put out there through the mainstream media. They have the odd little trickle of stories to do with what we're doing, but it really should be shouted from the rooftops. Like, we got people dying. We got 4 people every day in this province dying of the opioid crisis. And how many more victims are just right down the road
So
of people
many.
that could be transferring off of what they're using on the street that's
Man,
deadly.
there's so much
onto
money
cannabis
behind
edibles.
the other side trying to not let this information get out there, though.
I know.
And you know, this is the reason I believe, and I don't think there's a heck of a lot of evidence of it, but I truly believe that this has something to do with it. The reason that they're trying to eliminate medical marijuana in Canada, and the reason that it's a recreational program and it doesn't really look at all at the medical side of things. You know, everything they've done has been to try to limit medical stuff. And I think it's twofold. One, because the medical companies, the pharmaceutical industry and everything has a lot of power.
Yeah.
And two, because they know that's a constitutional argument that gets weed for everyone.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to really downplay those
They
things.
really don't want anything to do with medical. You can tell, and that's by the way they rolled it out. And by definition, it says right on their own little non-medical. They said when they were running around with their task force, they said, we don't want to normalize cannabis use. We don't want to talk about any benefits to do with cannabis use.
Yeah.
And
You're
so that's
literally
kind of
not
part of what's going
allowed to
on here,
talk
too.
about any benefits of cannabis.
Yeah, you can't say you can
It's
have a
illegal
good
to-
life
yeah.
from cannabis.
Yeah.
No, that's wrong.
No, it's
And
illegal.
there are so many people who will tell you cannabis saved their life.
Oh, yeah.
Such a substantial amount of people that I've met, especially through the program that I run. But even without that, and even before that, so many people that'll tell you that cannabis got them off the hard drugs. And there was a doctor from St. Paul on CKNW yesterday at 11 o'clock on the Simi Sarah show on there, and he's an addictions doctor, saying that people that are addicted to opioids have to stay on opioid medication for the rest of their lives, and that's why they should be going on to Suboxone as something that's better than heroin and better than these other things. And it's really not in many cases. It's not usable for a lot of people, but all it is a transfer of the dollars still into the pharmaceutical. They're just cashing in on the opioid crisis. Here, we'll sell you this. They want $50,000 per user of the Suboxone per year for life. That's what they think they're getting. And they'll give it to them for free because they're going to charge taxpayers for it. So we're all going to pay for people to get $50,000 out of these, into the pockets of the pharmaceutical companies so people can get this pharmaceutical
Right, we're subsidizing
answer.
these companies.
It's just disgusting. It is
yeah.
really disgusting. And so, yeah, that's something people can do is keep alerting the media to what we're doing. We've had so little media come down and see what we're doing there. Twice a week, we're giving out 200 bags with 4 to 6 edibles and a joint per bag. I mean, come on, this is like huge what we're doing. We need to have more mainstream media following us, and we need help in as far as donations and government support.
Well, we should work on a project on that, Neil. We really need more media attention for sure. Maybe, you don't actually have a website, you have a Facebook page, right?
There is a website for the Cannabis Substitution Project. I don't operate it. It's somebody in Alberta that put that together and uses pictures that we post. And
Oh, okay.
I think he's ethical enough. I've met with him, but and he was going to transfer it over to me, but that never happened. So not sure about that. But the way to see what we're doing is on Facebook. We are the Cannabis Substitution on Facebook. We're a group, and we post pictures every time we're there of the lineup of what we're putting into the bags and the volunteers that are there. And people post stories, the different studies that are coming through now that are verifying, why it's effective, what we're doing, as well as people's personal stories about how cannabis has helped them and is working for them. So all that stuff is posted on the Facebook page.
Carly Marley is gonna slip out.
Oh,
she's slipping out.
Yeah,
where are you
I'm gonna
slipping
slip
out?
To somewhere where it's warmer.
Oh, you cold?
Yeah.
Do you want a dab
That
before you
wouldn't
go?
be anywhere else in the rest of
One more
Canada.
dab before you go. Got to be a cookie dough dab. Here, you can have. Here, take a full one. Hit it hard with a large
Give her
one.
2. Double
I
her
gave
up.
her 2 last time.
Make her sweat.
Bam. You took 2 last time?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll take 1.5 then this time.
Oh, that's way small.
Unless you want another one. Take 2.5 if you really want. Yeah, there's more.
Remember the world record-setting hot box at Mark's
Upstairs?
Cafe
Oh,
there?
jeez. Yeah, you can still watch that
There's
video
one upstairs in
online.
the bathroom here too, with the 9 volcanoes or whatever. Dabber and
Oh, I didn't know what you want.
cap.
Continuing to prove that really you can never overdose from cannabis.
That video is just hilarious
It's
of
intense.
us at Mega Ill Pizza.
Mega ill. I miss that
And-
pizza so much. So good.
It's so good.
And it
Used
was
to go
like
there every Tuesday.
the weed guy, Mark Clokey, put the whole thing together and had like 420 grams of extract that he got.
No, he didn't do the 420. That was the next one to come, and I don't think anybody's ever actually done that yet.
Well, he had whatever it was. He had a shitload of
150
yeah.
It was 420 grams.
I thought it maybe I don't know.
Well, maybe it was
But
the
he was
710
like
that we haven't
he was
done
pouring
yet.
this
I guess
like
it was the 710 we haven't
oil,
done yet.
this weed oil that was like soupy black shit onto these coals. There was some good stuff too, like shatter and everything else, but some of it looked a little. Yeah.
The smoke was so thick.
It was amazing.
It was so thick.
We set the fire alarm off.
Man.
Yeah, the fire department showed up.
And they were like, "What's going on in here, boys?"
Yeah.
And then they opened the door.
I
and
duct taped the
like,
windows and doors. Nobody could go in or out.
So good.
It was actually hard to breathe in there.
Oh yeah, you're like.
Well,
joking.
Roxanne threw up. She was the only one, but we had to get her out of there. Mark didn't want to let her out though.
Just put her lower.
So she can't come back in.
Oh right, because Cloakey wanted the door shut and nobody could come in. So once you were in, you were in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Roxy couldn't take it.
A lot of people tapped out actually.
Nobody else puked that I'm aware of though.
Jesus.
With Roxy.
It was 442 grams, says Juice.
There you go. Yeah, I think it was the 710 we decided nobody had done yet, and somebody was going to, 12 High Chicks was going to have a party and do 710, but I don't think that happened, so that's still out there.
That's so funny. Yeah, well, that's fun stuff. Yeah, maybe
Well,
I
and
do
it's
another
proving
one.
that you can't overdose and that there's no real serious harm, right? They continue to try to regulate cannabis like if it was some sort of dangerous thing, and this is what we've been proving.
710 grams of weed.
It's why we throw out thousands and thousands of joints at 420, and it doesn't matter who gets them because nobody's ever harmed by any of this, and that's what we've been demonstrating all this time. So we kind of need to accumulate that information that we've gathered by doing all of this and present that to offset all the fears of, oh my God, public safety and greening out. I saw an article recently about, cannabis poisoning, people are greening out, It happens.
Well, it does happen, yeah. Like,
but,
like,
try that compared to just about poisoning from anything else.
No, it's true. And like, I don't go to enough bars to be like, oh my God, I see someone puke every time I go. But like, say I go to Amsterdam, I go to lots of different coffee shops just because I like that. I think it's cool. And yeah, I'll tell you, I see a fucking lot of people just fucking spewing, and I'm just like, oh man. But they eat lots of edibles, and you're on a different time zone. So even myself, sometimes I'm like kind of like, whoa, like I could see how it could just happen. And they probably like maybe drink booze too, and that probably doesn't help at all either. But like, I'm like, every time I'm like, it's not like after I land, I'll go to like one or two coffee shops on my way to like check in the hotel or whatever, and usually at the second one I go to, I see someone like puking all the time. I'm just like, fuck, feel bad for them. But like,
yeah. Oh, it happens.
And yeah, they're fine after, but it's just like, oh, yeah. Like,
well, and that's kind of what we've been trying to prove with the Cannabis Substitution Project, too, because we're giving high-dose edibles to these
Carly
people.
Marley's out the door.
Carly Norman's out.
Bye, Carly Marley.
Bye.
Bye, Carly Marley.
We're going to wrap it up soon anyways.
Wrap it up like a joint.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so just to wrap up that point, I mean, we've given out these bags of high-dose edibles to people for 2 years, and pretty early on it became clear that just about everybody had eaten too much at some point, like everybody in our lineup, but that also pretty much everybody didn't want to do that again, and we're trying to be careful about the dose that they used. It wasn't comfortable to eat too much, but they all survived it. They're all, laughing about it today. And that's
like you said, nobody dies from cannabis.
And these are actually very high doses of things that we're talking about. When people are greening out, it's not from having a puff on a joint or even smoking a whole joint to your head. This is about concentrated cannabis and having big globs and a lot of times rookie people that aren't used to it at all. Yeah. Or people that don't understand edibles. And edibles are a whole different ballgame altogether. You can eat too much cannabis. So.
Yeah, that is true. You can. And it's uncomfortable, though, but you won't die even from eating too much cannabis.
You'll live to talk about it.
Yeah, I ate too much coming back from Prague one time, and it was not very comfortable. I was flying, and it was like, I don't like this at all. Like, it was like a big sativa edible, because that's like popular over there, and I didn't really realize it, and I was just like, I was so anxious and like fucking just like, and I'm like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm fucking high. But I was like even that I knew, but I was still like, ugh.
Hilarious.
It's dose specific, that's for sure.
Watching like fucking Fast and the Furious or some stupid show on the fucking plane.
At the right dose, you'll have an amazing experience. It'll help you in a variety of ways.
Cookie. You
At
were
the wrong dose.
That's why you were so uncomfortable.
You'll be hanging onto a pole all night with the wrong dose.
It's just terrible.
Yeah, it's funny.
I actually like Fast and Furious.
No, me too. But
all right, well, let's wrap it up. That was our
join.
1 hour show today. We actually did a show in 1 hour. What an amazing feat.
That's good.
So you can switch over and check out Mr. Craig X. He's probably broadcasting he's already been on for half an hour yesterday's show. But he had some good guests and stuff, so check it out, and check out all the fun on Pot TV all week long, pot.tv, and we'll be back next Friday again with our crew, so we'll see you soon.
Peace.
Drug peace.
Hash Wednesday.
Tell you that cannabis saved their life.
You know what's going on? We're bagging up stuff for the Cannabis Substitution Project. These are the care packs that we give out. We give out about somewhere between 160 to 200 of these packs every time that we're here, twice a week.
And what's in the packs?
The packs would have, typically there's gummy, candy there, a cap, a joint. We have these other caramel types of gummies. But unfortunately, because of the city's clampdown on dispensaries and the transition to the non-medical legal government stores, the access to cannabis edibles has really been reduced. So we had 150 dispensaries here, none of them government stores, all of them medical to a degree, all of them with edibles. And that was just the marketplace, you know, the demand and then the supply coming to meet the demand. And the city decided to interfere with that, and now there's people really struggling to find what they need out there.
It's hard for
and
me
to the point where we have 180
them.
people going to line up here today in the rain for hours to get, you know, a bag like that. There's a great need in this city that's not being met.
It made me feel different. And probably where I went off the rails was getting into the acid and the speed and heroin. But fortunately for me, I didn't go overboard, and after doing a week run one time, getting sick and diarrhea, I turned my life over to God, became a Christian, but I still smoke weed. And now I've had 3 surgeries, and I don't take meds.
So it actually gives me pain relief, as well as helps me with epilepsy, as well as anxiety, panic attacks. Yeah.
I'd rather smoke weed or any edibles than go back to pills. Yeah. Pills kill.
Yeah.
Weed doesn't.
I don't depend on buying pharmaceuticals and speed drugs as much anymore because I take care of my physical pain with medical marijuana and the edibles that are provided for me.
Cannabis helps me a lot.
It's really ironic that police would waste their efforts on edibles, marijuana edibles, when there's actually people dying from opiate crisis. I don't see anybody dying from eating edibles. I see people being well and not taking opiates because they feel better, they don't need to take it.
It keeps me calm and keeps me pain-free.
Awesome, thank you. The cannabis helps me eat with my meds. Yeah. Because I have a hard time eating with my meds. So I eat like gummy gels, Billy Bombs before I eat, and then I'm able to like have a meal.
That pink is healed. Yeah. Scab's gone.
Yeah, that's from the oil.
This arm was broken. Like that, the one package, you've got enough. You've got enough of it. It doesn't take an endless amount, just that one dose per week or day or whatever it takes you. And I'll put it down. I'll put it down and say, I don't need it anymore. I'm fine.
No, it's a nightmare just getting housing. I use it, I eat it, I smoke it, and I use the cream for my arthritis.
Now it gives people an alternative to what other people would give you as a bad button, and this is the right button to get. It's been with us for thousands of years. Yeah. And now because of political complications, we can't deal with it as mature adults. So this is a healing band-aid for us economically. If people will just free up the situation and allow the garden to grow.
My husband Doug and I are the owners of the S&M Medicinal Sweet Shop over in Gibsons, BC. We're a seed-to-table edibles company, so with that, I grow all of the cannabis that goes into all of our edible products that Doug makes. We started the company originally for Doug. Doug was on narcotics for 25 plus years. 5.5 of that was oxycodone. He really needed to get off of it, so he decided to make edibles. Yeah. So we started making edibles, and he slowly weaned himself off of methadone.
I've been using it medically for 44 years because of my heart.
I smoke sativa, and I find sometimes it just gives me
a little bit of energy.
She can't walk. She has diabetes and her legs swell up so bad and sores. She can't walk. I can. Yeah. So I come all the way from New Westminster and get this, take it home, and give most of it to her.
Edibles in this city are unaffordable for low-income people. The taxing of medical cannabis is wrong. Please don't tax our medical cannabis. We need it. It saves my life. It saves their life. And it'll save somebody from opiate death.
How many?
230 people. That is the biggest lineup we had so far this year.
Help people with offsetting the use of street drugs because they kill people. The lack of access is definitely causing deaths in this city. So shame on the government, shame on our municipal government for not allowing the free access to medical dispensaries and edibles, which should be happening.
So thank you, man. Really appreciate you.
Thank you very much for saying this.
Brought to you by Sun West Genetics.